Hello students, my name is Zadarkus and I welcome you to another LoL school video. In this video I'm going to talk about armor penetration and explain you exactly how it works. Armor penetration is a champion statistic that directly reduces armor, meaning that 10 armor penetration makes the target have minus 10 armor, or 20% penetration equals to 20% less. The difference between penetration and armor reduction is that reduction can reduce armor below 0. The same is true for magic, which means that attacks deal more than the 100% of the damage they actually would do normally. All champions have 0 base armor penetration, but can increase it with items, runes, masteries and some champion abilities. There is an order on the calculation of these penetration and reductions. When attacking, armor penetration and armor reduction are considered in the following order. First, armor reduction that is flat. After it, armor reduction that is in percentage. Then we got the armor penetration that comes in percentage, and in the end the armor penetration that comes flat. Meaning that if you have all of these in your champion, first of all you would reduce the armor of the enemy in a flat number, after it in a percentage, and then your armor penetration in percentage would come in the calculation, ending with a subtraction of the armor penetration flat. Now, how does the flat armor reduction work? The target's armor is reduced by an amount. Flat armor reduction does stack additively. For example, 20 armor reduction reduces the target armor by 20, so a target with 30 armor will be reduced to 10 armor, because it's 30 armor that the target has, minus the 20 armor reduction you got. Flat armor reduction can reduce a target's armor below 0. For example, if an enemy with 10 armor has their armor reduced by 25, the enemy will have a negative 15 armor. Now, the percentage armor reduction works in a different way. The target armor is multiplied by a percentage. For example, the 100% of its armor minus the listed reduction. Percentage armor reduction stacks multiplicatively as well and is ignored if the target armor is 0 or less. For example, 20% armor reduction multiplies the target armor to 80%, so the target with 30 armor will be reduced to 24 armor. Percentage armor reduction makes a bigger difference on target with higher armor. For instance, with 40% armor reduction, a target with 200 armor will lose 80, while a target with 50 armor will only lose 20. Now, the percentage armor penetration. The target armor is treated as being multiplied by a percentage for purpose of damage calculation, the 100% armor minus the listed penetration. Percentage armor penetration also stacks and is ignored if the target's armor is 0 or less. For example, 20% armor penetration causes the target to take damage as if the armor was multiplied by 80%, so a target with 30 armor will be treated as though it has 24 for the purpose of the damage calculation. Because the target actual armor value does not change, anything else depending on the value also doesn't change. For examples, the Ramos passive Spiked Shell, in which he gains attack based on the total armor he got. Percentage armor penetration makes a bigger difference on targets with higher armor. For instance, with 40% armor penetration, a target with 200 armor will be considered as having 80 less, while the target with only 50 armor will be considering as having 20 less. Now, the flat armor penetration. The target armor is treated as being reduced by an amount for purpose of damage calculation, but cannot be reduced below 0. Flat armor penetration stacks additively. For example, 20 armor penetration causes the target to take damage as if the armor was 20 less, so a target with 30 armor will be treated as though it has 10 for the purpose of the damage calculation. The target actual armor will not change, however, so it does only affect your champion damage. Because of the target actual armor being the same and not changing, the same goes for the example I gave you about Ramos. Now here are a couple examples. giving 20 flat armor reduction and 30% armor reduction, and the target is affected by 10 flat armor penetration and 35 armor penetration. Let's say that target A has 80 armor. This 80 armor is reduced to 60 by the 20 armor reduction. The 60 is reduced to 42 by the 30% armor reduction. The 42 is considered to be 27.3 by the 35% armor penetration, and the 27.3 is considered to be 17.3 by the 10 armor penetration. Target A takes damage as it has 17.3 armor. Now for the example of target B, which has 18 armor. This 18 is reduced to -2 by the 20 armor reduction. The -2 is not affected by any further calculation because it is less than 0. Target B takes damage as it would be 2 negative points on armor. I hope this video helped you understand how the armor reduction and penetration works. In the future, I'm going to talk a little bit about the champions, items, and how all this works together in an actual game. If you like this video, remember to give it a thumb up, leave me a comment to let me know what you think, what you would like to see, what question you might have, because I will read them and come back to you. And also, if you are not subscribed, make sure you do. If you have friends that would need these types of guides, remember to share it. It will also help me out a lot. Remember guys, my name has been Zadarkus. Stay cool and don't freeze, cause I'll be back pretty soon with a new one. See ya!